Well, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us on Logistics Executive TV. We're here on the ground in downtown Sydney at cool 6 degrees, and I'm here with the founder and managing director of Allcap Securities, Lincoln Frost. Lincoln, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kim. Appreciate your time.
Taking some time out of your busy day. Lincoln, we're talking about a very exciting logistics and supply chain development in the north of Australia, in Queensland, in central Queensland, around Gladstone ports. Tell us a little bit about Gladstone, tell us a little bit about your organisation, and then we want to talk about the development that you guys are involved in.
Absolutely, thank you, Kim. So, Allcap Securities, we're a privately owned investment house, and we broadly invest across four key pillars. So, infrastructure, property development, private credit, and energy transition. And so the key, asset in our infrastructure vertical is this significant project in central Queensland. It's a $17 billion, it's a mixed-use infrastructure project that ties in port, rail, cold storage, advanced manufacturing, supply chain logistics efficiencies, and it's something that's been in our team's framework for the past 3 years. And now it's coming to light in its execution phase.
So some pretty big numbers there you're talking about, Lincoln. This has got to be something fairly major. I know for Queensland in itself, it's got to be a fairly major blip on the screen for sure. But even nationally, this is fitting in with the national strategy on logistics and development, or is this something that's completely out of the box?
So it does fit in with federal and state initiatives and growth plans. It is somewhat out of the box in that it isn't a prescribed project that the government is putting forward. It is a fully private sector funded and originated, solution project strategy idea for what you want to call it.
Okay.
And the founder of Interport Global, which is the sponsor and brand behind this major project. Really, Allcap Securities is a financier, architect, execution partner, really combining the vision of IPG with the capability, skill set, and network that Allcap Securities brings to bring this project to life. And
Sure.
it does sound ambitious. It is not just a big project for Queensland, but it's a big project for Australia.
Right.
It's a nation-building project, and what it essentially is the private sector funded solution to take the inland rail from North Star, where the current funding and sort of consensus goes up to take that into Gladstone Port, which is a deep water port. It's got a lot of land capacity. It's not constrained by metro, and it's got a lot of opportunity that we see through a sort of careful and considered approach that we can bring to life.
Brilliant. So Gladstone is a major port and the major port for central Queensland, which is a massive part of it. It's about half the size of Europe in terms of Queensland itself.
Certainly is, yeah.
Traditionally, it's been doing what as a port, and what's the big step up in terms of what you're looking to do in development here?
So Gladstone in itself and the sort of industry around it is an industrial hub. It's been, historically, it's been very large projects, whether it's the gas terminal, the coal facilities. But really, that's what the history of it. I think it's the fourth largest coal export terminal in the world. It's the second largest coal seam gas export terminal in the world. So you get these fluctuations of activity there. But what really we see and the vision that we have is that there's it is an adjunct or an add-on to the current, a solution to the current congestion in containerised freight at Sydney, Brisbane, and somewhat Melbourne, but more so Sydney, Brisbane.
Right, because that's what we hear about. We hear about Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, the big ports. You don't hear of any other major ports, even West Australia, Perth. So this is the why. It's solving a problem in terms of a bottleneck. It's got economic development opportunity.
Yes.
Fits in with government protocols in terms of the development strategy, and no doubt with state. So we're talking cold chain here, which we've been doing a lot of involvement with our consulting and our recruitment business over the last 20 or 25 years. What's the big step up here in terms of cold chain? So there's a real gap in the market you've identified?
There's a big gap for cold chain. Just to quickly finish on the Sydney, Brisbane, they're constrained by metro, and a lot of the container ships come down because the speed and the infrastructure is there to distribute your parcels into those metro locations. So it's the shortest time to your customer. where Gladstone, we feel the opportunity is to slowly build up the containerised freight coming in, is to connect it via regional Australia into the back ends of those metropolitan.
Right, because you're a lot closer to Asia, right?
Closer to Asia, there's an efficiency in the actual size of the ships that can come down. So you're going to get smaller ships coming in niche services, calling it at Gladstone and taking their products into the regions via that inland rail. That piece will take time to ramp up and to deliver. But at present, the infrastructure is there on port to have stevedoring to take refrigerated containers and get them into Southeast Asia. And the first big inefficiency in the supply chain is the food bowl there at Rockhampton and Central Queensland more broadly. The food, the agricultural products, beef, etc. It's all coming on trucks, and it's coming down the Bruce Highway, and it's sitting on Brisbane Port, and it's sometimes sitting there for a while,
Yep.
and then it's getting on a ship and going straight back past Gladstone to its destination customer. And what this does to it, it cuts through, it allows a faster time to market. That's more money in either the pocket of the producer or better price to the customer. How that sort of value chain is divided up is, the market will determine that.
Sure.
But essentially that gap there, and it's not just Gladstone, it's Bundaberg, and it's other ports up in the north where that project is currently coming through Brisbane. Brisbane is relatively constrained. It's a shallow water port.
Yep.
And you've probably seen, if you're up in there, the ships that are backed out, waiting to get in.
Sure.
This is not to take business away from Brisbane. It is a complementary piece of the logistics puzzle in shipping.
Brilliant. Well, as part of the series of identifying this major new development for Australia, we certainly intend to get up to Gladstone and do some filming and some interviews up there when we get the opportunity. Back to the cold chain piece again. Any details you want to give us around the cold chain facility? And I know there's been inquiries already. The news is out that you guys are developing. There's a lot of inquiries now coming through, which we'll talk about in a minute. So for organisations who are looking to leverage a facility like this, you're certainly open to talk to them moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love a conversation. I think probably the key thing for any of the viewers or listeners to take into account is this isn't where we're looking for a head tenant to go and take a head lease and then to go and do all the work. We've got the networks to be able to almost wrap a red ribbon around this and make it a turnkey solution. We're members of AgForce, which is representative of 6,000 independent farmers. We've got the connectivities down the supply chain and also into the end purchaser markets, such that we don't expect a tenant to come in and sign day one and allow them to do all the heavy lifting. We've got very much a collaborative approach where we're keen to see this be a success. And this is the first of, this is a 20,000 square metres under roof. We've surveyed the land, we've done environmental testing and geotech. We've ready to submit the DA plans into Gladstone Port Corporation. The key piece for the submission of those plans is really to get the detailed internal design, and we've allowed for ultimate flexibility. It's a clean slate. So the actual space can be divided up, the temperature settings can be divided up, technology can be divided up, depending on what that head tenant wants and sees after they're diligent into the market and the customer segments that they're looking to identify.
Brilliant. Well, I know Allcap, we've done our research, and Allcap Securities has certainly got a very good track record in investments, and it doesn't surprise me the amount of due diligence that you've actually done. And it sounds like the groundswell of user support, both from an inbound logistics and outbound logistics, is already there.
Yeah, so essentially with the shipping service, we're an architect here. We're being invested class operators for each of the piece of this big puzzle. And it's ambitious, $17 billion, but the way that the team is structured is that each piece stands on its own 2 feet. So if the cold storage is the only piece that goes ahead, it's still fundable, commercial and feasible. At the moment, the infrastructure is there to support the cold storage and the stevedoring on port. We've got energy solutions, we've got reefer storage solutions to be able to start the trade flows now into those key markets. And so the shipping group that we've partnered with has identified a niche shipping route that goes Gladstone, Darwin, Siribaya, Port Kalang and back, intended to be a weekly service. But off the back of that, if we're exporting out, what we're also doing, particularly via our key relationships in Indonesia and in Malaysia, via Des, you and the founder of Interport Global, but also with the Honourable Andrew Robb, who sits across both Allcap Securities and Interport Global, is to get the trade flows back the other way.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of goods in Malaysia and Indonesia that don't come down to Australia because they have to go up to Singapore and back down. So you're just creating this trickle effect. So that's the bigger plan.
I'm very impressed, I've got to say, from a supply chain and logistics perspective. I hear ringing in my ears control tower, being your role in this is putting all the moving parts in place, getting all the players aligned. I also hear end-to-end supply chain, which it's in and out, which for Australia it's a huge issue because invariably it's always been 90% in and about 10% out, and a lot of empty boxes, as you say, going out on ships, and a lot of empty aircraft going back out as well. So this seems like it's an existential issue that really needs to be solved anyway.
It absolutely is, and it's going to benefit those independent farmers. We hope the guys that probably aren't getting as much of the profit in their product they could. It is a paddock to plate scenario.
There you go.
We're building the infrastructure around it.
Brilliant. Well, it's we're really excited about getting involved with you folks. As I say, we want to get up there and have a look on site. You've got construction happening up there now, and we'll be doing that within the next few months. Lincoln Frost, founder and MD of Allcap Securities. Really pleased to have you on board for today. Thanks so much for allowing us into your offices downtown in Sydney, and we look forward to staying in touch with the project.
Lovely. Thank you, Kim.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
And thanks everybody for joining us on Logistics Executive TV.